Hi, and welcome to Educationally Rewired. My name is Xandra Webb, and I'm your host. And joining us in just a moment would be our co host, Dr. Deidrea Stevens.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey, girl. What's happening in the news today? Look, I'm maha.
We speaking in tongues today. God is all in this broadcast today. See? All right.
Girl, what's happening in the news today?
Well, I heard, look, let me be messy. Let me spill the educational tea.
Mm,
There is a local school district that a board member was arrested for assault, and it's in his or her. I don't know if it's his or her family. So, should they still be serving on the school board? I mean, I'm just curious. What do you think?
I try not to get in people's business. So if you're being arrested because your family is being trifling, I don't have nothing to do with that. Does it affect you making decisions for the kids? Probably not. You know, so I don't care. I
But
think
you can't
about
be
it
whooping
as,
up on your family like to the point of arrest,
"Oh, wait, hold on, wait. So he
or
beat
she.
his family?
Yes, they were arrested for assault. Like
Wait,
they
he
or
beat
she
who?"
a family member, I'm going to assume their spouse or significant other, because I mean that's just how
Okay,
it goes.
I hope it was a spouse or significant other because then I can have compassion. Wait, let me finish my
Okay.
sentence. Dang, y'all think I'm I'm not for
Like, let's make that
I'm
clear.
not for spouses getting whooped on, right?
Okay.
I don't think there's a reason for that. Um, I wonder if man, no, you know. But now if it was if there were other family members like cousins and stuff like that at the family reunion, you know, and then we get upset cuz yesterday was Sunday. So did
Right.
they get arrested yesterday
On the Lord's Day.
or did they get arrested today?
It's unclear. I did not even get the whole scoop
Well,
on it.
I asked because if they got arrested yesterday was Sunday, that's the day we have all our, you know, get-togethers for Sunday after church,
Right.
everybody go to somebody's house. It's quite possible that they could have gotten into an argument with a family member, not the spouse,
Right.
right? Um, for I don't know, then maybe they ate the last of the potato salad. What?
It can't. Now, I will say that, like you said, if it's, our extended family sometimes brings those things out of us that they should not. And if we're
Yeah.
being real, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would really hope that it's not a domestic violence situation. And if it is, that is very sad. But I mean,
That's very sad and dangerous because when it comes to somebody that you live with every day,
right.
now,
And we don't advocate.
someone you live with every day can make you run hot.
Right. Right.
So,
Been there. Understood.
you know, that let me tell you, someone you live with every day can make you run hot.
Right. But we have to learn self-control and restraint because that's what we're
That's
teaching
true.
students. And here you are, the school board, you're a model for that. So should this person still serve? I don't know. I guess I would have to know more details on the situation. I mean, were they provoked?
And I mean, so I'm always thinking about the entire picture.
Mhm.
I'm not in any way saying or condoning violent behavior or choosing violence, right?
Mhm.
Um, but it seems like the ones who are bringing attention to these things are always the one with the way worse past than the person who's
Right.
been arrested, you know? It's
You just
like
didn't get caught.
you're bringing this up, but if I go look into you, the one that's making the decision, oh no, they can't come back here.
Right.
That person, if I go look into you, you probably have done some things that if it were brought to the light, you would run and hide.
Right. You just didn't get
So,
caught. I mean, think of the things that we have all done. I mean, if we say our college days, our early adult days, I mean, there's some things that we did, and we are just grateful to God that we did not get caught, and so that we can still have a respectable career, and it didn't go on our record. That's just real. Um,
That part.
so I mean, I would definitely want to know, more about the story to make that type of judgment. I mean, this person that, this is their 10th domestic violence call, are they causing bar brawls all the time? Or is this an unfortunate situation where things got out of hand, misconstrued? Or was this person protecting themselves and the narrative got, there are so many different things that it could be. But I'm curious to see how this pans out and hear more details about it. Because it is unfortunate. It is
Yeah.
very unfortunate, whatever this.
Yeah. Anyway, well, what's our topic today?
All right. So our topic for today is, so you done with technology now? And I had to tilt my head to say it, like, you know, we just are still, I'm not going to say came out of a pandemic because we're still pandemicking.
Yeah.
And so now that we're back in person, there are some educators out there who would like to believe that, I'm done with technology. We're good. No, son. No,
But
daughter.
who?
They out there, honey. They went back to the chalkboard. They're not even the dry erase board. They're back at the chalkboard. I don't know what's going on with that.
Uh to me, it's like you're making this much harder for yourself.
Right.
If I had technology like this, man, when I was teaching, for example, if you're grading papers now, why? Who
Why?
grades papers other than English teachers and people who got to read whole papers? But other than that, you think I'm a great honey, it's automated. You don't even have to do all of that. And then the argument is this the people are like, well, so the kids, it doesn't show me whether or not they have learned the information. That's what they tell me when I go on these campuses. And I'm like, they totally forget as you continue, you have so many different activities, you're gonna be able to figure out who knows what.
Right.
It's so what? It's like you're um on this tip of trying to make sure they don't get me or something.
Right.
I
They
don't know
get you.
what it is, but it's such an uncomfortable way to create a career. Who cares?
Right. We have created this mindset as educators that students can't use their resources. Now, when we get out here in the real world, what you all like to call it, I don't know how real it is,
Yes.
but we get
Yes.
out here and we Google stuff on our phones. We use
All
our
the
calculator
time.
on our
All
phone.
the time.
We ask other people for questions and for help.
All the
But when
time.
we are in school, it's cheating. I don't understand that. So we have not taught and truly prepared them for the real world because we have not shown them how to use their resources. Because they get
We
out
don't
here and
allow
then,
them to use resources.
yeah, we don't allow them to. We say it's cheating. We don't know if they know. Is it not a skill to be able to find the correct response? Is that not a skill? I mean, if I don't know how to look up something, I know back in the day, I think of it like this. Back in the day when we used to use paper dictionaries and we had to find something, and they go, well, if they look up the definition, they don't know what it means. Well, in order to look up that, you had to know how the word was spelled. You had to know a whole lot of different things. You had to know your alphabet. You know how to find things alphabetized. There were a bunch of skills that were already in that. And so we talked about the dictionary, the paper dictionary. Now we're talking bad about the World Wide Web. And I'm like, it's a resource.
She said we're talking bad about the World Wide Web.
Right. Like we don't want them. it feeds into this debate, and I know the fiery darts of the enemy are going to come at me for this.
Right.
Yes,
The whole enemy.
the whole enemy. When I say, when teachers come to me or administrators come to me and say, Zandra, how do we get these kids to stop using their phones? I'm like, why?
Why?
Why? I say two things. Well, I don't say the first one, but I think the first one. Are you that boring? Not that engaging? I try not to say that one out loud. And then second, the one is we should be teaching them how to properly use it as a resource and as a tool.
That's
I
right.
can't go
That's
anywhere
true.
without my phone. I need it. Like, my work is embedded in that. Everything I do is embedded in my calendar, my alarms, my work. I can pull up things. I mean, I don't understand. I'm like, I don't even understand that question when people ask me that. So,
I don't know. I've walked in classrooms and they're like, especially math classrooms, that's near and dear to our hearts, right? We love math classrooms, just in case you guys are wondering.
math.
So if you need a resource for math, you need to reach out to us. ImpactTTL.com. You need to reach out to us, okay? In any case, I walk into a math classroom like from 8th grade on up, or whenever the test is calculator active, all the way until adulting, okay? They will never not have a calculator. And then I have some people who are very adamant about, well, I want, the students, they need to know how to mentally do math and for what? Your fingers work. I know people don't like when kids use fingers, okay? But hey, whatever works. And they also don't like when they use calculators, but whatever works, okay? From 8th grade on up to adulting, they will never not have a calculator. And as a teacher, right, and an instructional leader supervising this department, I do not have time to create an intervention to teach you how to add, subtract, multiply, or divide when there's a calculator right in your hand that can do that. The elementary school failed you. And at this point, there's nothing I can do. I have been charged with getting you from point A to point B. I need you to relax so you can understand the concept. And your mama can pay for you to get a tutor, or you can go to the after school care at church and get somebody to teach you that. I am not. I will not. I will not spend my time teaching you that concept. I will not.
No. And we don't you don't have time. For instance, I taught Algebra 1 for 6 years, and I did not have time to teach multiplication facts.
The curriculum is jam-packed.
It is. I mean, you're barely getting through the curriculum.
There's a lot. And it takes time to learn one concept, just to learn the concept. And when we talk about teaching, right, the process of learning, people often think about what do we call it? So there is computation. So they think about computation, right, when it's time to teach something. But no, if you're teaching in depth, you go from computation to concept, right? Or actually, you should start with concept first so that they are able to do the computation with ease. So they have to understand like how this thing works, why we're doing it this way. And that takes so much time to teach that. I taught stuff, even in my professional development. I teach things that you think would not even matter. Right. And it's not that I'm trying to teach you the actual thing. It's that I'm trying to create context for you to pull from. Right. You know what I mean? And that takes time. And when you have a curriculum that's jam-packed, like every grade level teachers have to teach, do you understand that the standards that are being they're being asked to teach, with the exception of English, by the way, because
Right.
English is the same from fourth
Today's
grade
the day and forever.
on. It's the same thing. So if you're failing the English test, or you have a child that's failing one, figure that out, because it's the same standard every single year.
Yes.
But for other content areas, the standards, the number of things they have to learn every year is unrealistic.
It is.
It's unrealistic.
It is. And there's just no time for those things. So
Yeah.
you should gladly be able to hand over the calculator and say, okay, I don't have time to teach you 9 times 7, but you know what? That calculator will get it for you in seconds. So, and let's move on. Um, it
Yes.
just doesn't work in the scope and sequence. There are so many different things that we could do with technology now and get our kids to be more forward thinking and more critical thinkers. And there are so many skills that are involved before they even get to the technology. So you don't have to be worried about, oh, well, they're not learning anything if they use the technology. No, they are learning a lot of skills that are leading up to that. So,
I think we get sidetracked with control.
oh, 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 preach that thing.
Really, we get sidetracked with control.
Yes.
Okay, because you're trying to control, and it's very uncomfortable when you're constantly worried about whether or not a 12-year-old is trying to get you. Like, I forget it. Who cares?
Right.
Okay, maybe you are cheating.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you do it well.
Right.
Eventually, you're going to be caught. I don't have to come down after you. There are certain laws that are relevant, or that are evident in the whole earth. Okay, in the whole earth. One of them is the law of reciprocity. Guys, come on. Hello. Who's
Uh-huh.
been paying attention? Who's
Yes.
been paying attention on the motivational videos?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And who's been paying attention in church? The law of reciprocity does not stop because you went to work today. Okay.
Yes.
It
Yes.
happens anyway. So, guess what? If you put out this energy of dishonesty and cheating and all of these things, do you know eventually that thing is coming back? And when it's kids in your class that are doing this thing, just wait. You ain't got to get them today. You know, when I was an administrator, when I first started, I used to run after kids. I'm talking about run after them. I'm talking about I used to try, and you're running from me, I'm taking off and running too, or whatever the case might have been. And then one day I said, these jokers got to ride that same bus tomorrow, and they got to get off, and they're going to be crazy enough to come back to school tomorrow.
Yep.
I do not have to get them today.
Nope.
Okay. So you take off running, honey. I got your name, your schedule, your social security number, your PINS number.
Yeah.
I have your address.
Your
Okay.
mama number.
Every report card you've ever had in your whole entire life. Like,
Right.
and my yellow limousine is coming to your house every day to pick you up and gonna bring you back. So I started relaxing. And with technology, I feel like teachers need to do that. You need to relax.
Yes.
Okay. Learning is a process. They're going to learn. Now, in terms of using technology, you need to use it. And you need to use it because that's the age we're in. We just walked into the 21st century, girl, during COVID.
Right. How many times? Look, I need to clap this out. How many times did we have to have this talk with teachers because it was on their evaluations, to show them that technology is required of you. It's expected of you. It's the standard.
Why
And
did
they
we
go,
have to
"Oh,
do a training with
right.
Google?
Yeah." And they go, "Oh, okay." And they sit through the training and they never touch these items ever again until maybe you're in the room, and maybe because many are just like, "Oh, we weren't using it today." No, honey, that has dust upon it. You did not use that ever.
You
Like
never
that,
use it.
right. The answer that's on there now is the answer that was in our warm up, our icebreaker, and the activity. That's the same thing on the screen. So no, you didn't use that, and there's so much benefit. This is the world we live in. This is the world we live in, and we are performing and practicing malpractice when we don't equip our students with technology and technology skills.
Take it to the next level. Reach back. Pull someone else up. Aspire to make a difference.
So from an admin perspective, what what is the pain point here from an administrator's perspective in technology?
I believe the pain point is we paid for all of this, so we need to be using it. And granted, there's not a whole lot of, you know, I don't think there's a whole lot of substance to that because a whole lot of stuff that we pay for that's not being used in education. Let's be clear. Some of your tax money is being wasted. Let's just throw that out there. All right. So this is just more of your tax money being wasted. But the technology is there, and there are people questioning that, saying, okay, we went through all this, got all these devices. Now they're sitting there dusty in a corner. What are we going to do about that? And also, what we finally started doing during this pandemic time is accommodating, which we should have been doing that a long time ago. There are students that just learn differently, and we didn't care before. We're just like, well, this is how I'm teaching. So now the student that thrives in the technology, which is a lot of them because they were born with it in their hands, we're snatching it back. So admin is looking like, wait, this is something we were on to something. And here you are, you went back to your chalk. And we need to know why you're back to the
You went back
chalkboard.
to your dry erase.
Right. You're back at, I mean, literally. I mean, you might as
But
well.
seriously, think about if you're a teacher, think about the many recommendations that your administrator has made, right? One of them, I'm sure, has been engagement. Boom, use technology. You'll get your engagement, right? If you use it correctly. Differentiated instruction. Boom, use your technology properly, and you would have covered your differentiated instruction. What else are we missing? Um, Data. Um, Monitor and adjust, I know, is one for Texas, right? If you use your technology, you can quickly monitor and adjust student performance in your class. So, from an administrator's point of view, I do believe that their pain point is that we bought all of these things, but you're not using them. But at the same time, I also feel like the lack of instructional leadership that we have, you should have known when you bought all of these things how you were going to roll it out, how you were going to teach them, and how it played a part in your instructional program. Wait, do you have an instructional program? Right. Answer that question.
Well, while I 1000% agree with that, I will, in fairness, say they got thrown into a lot of things with pandemic. We didn't understand that, which unfortunate because these are things we should have been doing before, anyways. I'm just
Thank
gonna throw.
you. And that's what I'm saying. Because do you remember when you were a principal, you used Google Classroom, did you not?
Yes, to
Okay. I
death, not
also
even death, to
noticed
death.
you did. And I also noticed that there were a number of teachers on your campus that also use Google Classroom, right? Okay. So if you had been a principal during the pandemic, your building would not have lost any time because you guys are using this anyway. By the way, parents and community members alike, I really want you to start investigating all these districts that said they were one-to-one districts
Mm,
until the pandemic hit, and now everybody doesn't have computers.
mm,
Mind you, I do know of a district
mm.
that was saying they were one-to-one districts. When I asked where were all the laptops, they told me, no, 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 no. We have one computer for every student. We don't have
Right. And they
devices
included the
for
desktop.
them to take home and all of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Which
it's like 1980 marketing going on here.
it is. I mean, they're pulling the wool over your eyes because how many districts had to wait for ever and ever to get this technology in because they didn't have it. And that is so unfortunate. And that because the money has come through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be real about that. These are some things that I learned as quickly as a principal. There are ways. The money is there. Now, there were things I had to do in phases while I was there. Like I had say, okay, I can't give you this much, but I can give you this much. All right, let me go ahead and put that towards technology because that is a priority on my campus. It is whatever that leader deems a priority. And to me, when I have teachers that are trying to, oh, I need to use this card or this card and we need to borrow, but I can't use it because this one I can't even get into a computer lab. I mean, those things that was a priority for me. And I said, okay, when I look at the budget overall, I'm budgeting some money to upgrade that. Why is the only cart that's working a 30 computer on wheels or cow we call it? Why is it work the only one that's working? Half of the ones are missing keys because one, we have not taught our students to value the technology that we do have, and nor is it a norm. So yeah, I'm sitting there picking off keys off of the keyboard because it's really cool that we're using these really cool devices that we never use ever. But if it's the norm, I'm not sitting there picking the keys off of the keyboard because I have work to do. And this is what we do. And I know if I tear up this device, I can't get my work done. But when it is like a holiday to use technology, I understand that it got tore up because it was kind of cool. This is a cool device. Never seen one of these before. You know. So
It really should be. It should be a normality on your campus, and then too, think about the ed tech professionals, right? So now, because we have gone through COVID, we literally spent 2 whole years online. Okay, at least 2 whole years online. Then last year, like partly, and then this year, everybody's like, "What COVID? What?" Okay, so yes, yeah, we just endured a whole pandemic and we were all online. Okay. So now my priorities as an instructional leader needs to change. So instead of signing up for all these conferences that we sign up for every year, maybe one or two of those conferences need to be ed tech conferences, right? You need to pay attention and follow ed tech professionals. Don't ask me who, I don't know. But but
but
there
there are
are some ed tech professionals that are pretty awesome. I think there was some conference that came up on my feed on Facebook, and it was an ed tech conference that I'm actually signing up for because I want to make sure I stay relevant and make sure I'm aware of what's coming out. But I do remember ed tech professionals prior to the pandemic talking about moving in this direction. They were telling us before this happened, before the pandemic happened, ed tech professionals were telling us and showing us how to um, move into the level of education that heavily leaned on technology, but in a responsible way. Like they were showing us all of these things. And then when the pandemic happened, everybody acted like no one told us, but you've been told for years, all the way, let's go 2008. Okay. Because that's when people were like, oh, well, we're a one-to-one district. They were starting to come out around that time, right? give or take some years,
Mhm.
2008, give or take, right? People were starting to say, oh, we're a one district, marketing their districts in that manner. Okay. Uh, then when the pandemic hit, where are you? Like what?
Districts use their resources. I know, for instance, one local district used their mineral rights money to go one to one and give their students iPads. I mean, it's there. If you're creative, you can write grants, and many of these technology companies want to give it to you.
Apple.
Apple wants to give it to you. Texas Instruments
Yeah.
wants to give it to you.
Yeah.
Because that is marketing for them. So,
And Apple is education friendly. Like
yeah,
way long ago, Apple has always had a leasing contract, right? Because I would not buy technology. Technology is outdated as soon as you purchase it.
right.
So there, if I were a district, there's no way I would buy technology, like purchase it, because it's outdated as soon as you buy it. Like tomorrow is old.
Right.
Okay.
You
But
get
I
news
would
and good news.
lease it. I
Yes.
would lease it. And Apple, Macintosh, do they still call it Macintosh now?
No,
Anyway, okay.
no, no.
Given my age,
A Mac at best.
Macintosh.
No,
That sound like somebody's grandma. Anyway, uh, that's like me saying cellular phone. Why? I don't know. Anyway, off topic. So Mac had like they still have this program, like they're education friendly. Their company is intentional on being education friendly, right? Even though Mac is not paying us for promoting them. Okay.
right.
I'm just letting them know. So if anyone is watching and they work with or for Mac, let them know what we're doing out here.
Right.
Anyway,
And we take donations. Okay, go ahead.
we take sponsorship. We sure do. Okay,
Right.
we take sponsorship. But anyway,
Right.
Mac has an amazing program where you lease the machines
Yes.
and you just pay every year. It's kind of like my cell phone. I don't buy a cell phone. I know people buy them. I don't buy them anymore because I know me. When the new version comes out, I'm going to take that cell phone back and be like, when is this contract over? So I'm a part of a leasing plan with my cell phone company. And honey, when the new one come out, like 14 is out right now, I think I just take my phone back and swap it. I'm done. Let's go. And I pay a monthly fee every month. Well, school districts need to do the same. It helps to set aside predictable funding. Okay. It comes with training. It comes with tech support as well if you purchase that package. It comes with all of these things, but everywhere I go, they're like, well, we don't have the bandwidth for Apple computers or, the people who love PCs, or I don't know what they call all other computers because I'm a Mac girl, so I don't really know what they call these other machines. But
PCs.
yeah, I don't. I am speaking to you from a Mac computer right now, so I have no idea. Okay, I am a part of Apple Stolic, the Apple Stolic ministry.
Oh my gosh. I will not. I will not.
Anyway, yeah, but it comes with all of these amazing things, training, and all types of support. And I would be willing to bet that the other computers probably have the same support as well now, back. So we're still talking from an admin perspective, but I do want to incorporate the perspective of veteran teachers who feel like, I just don't want to use that. Maybe you're already approaching the point where your experience and your age equals 70. Okay, so that's the retirement joke. Bada bing. Okay.
Right. 'Cause it's definitely 80, or I think it's almost 90 now. And I think I'm an 80er. And So yeah, okay. But go ahead.
I don't even know. I just said that because I heard someone talking about it the other day.
Yes, it's years,
So,
your
yeah.
age plus years of experience. For those who are unsure what we are giggling about, have to equal, well, one generation was 70. I'm a part of the 80, and there are others who are now part of the 90 or 85 or 90 now. God bless your soul. Um, because we're gonna have any retirees for the way education is going. So
No,
yes.
no. Um, no,
I,
no.
I get you. The veteran, right? Yeah, I'm so over that. But
So, I mean, but what about the veteran teachers who are saying, I just don't have the time for it. So I just don't feel like doing it the way I've been doing. I went on a campus one time and I worked with I want to say young lady out of respect. Okay. I worked with a woman who she was significantly older than me. She was one of the ones saying no, because I want them to really learn the math. They don't need to use the calculator right now. I'll wait until, I don't even know, like March or something. It was November at the time. And I'm like, March? The test is in May, ma'am.
right.
Ma'am, they it's muscle memory. The kids are not going to remember that in 2 months. They're not. Anyway, her complaint was she felt like the students, well, she had taught for many years, and she said the way that she teaches works. Mind you, they don't call us unless it is not working.
Mm. We're there
Fact that
because
I showed up means it is not working somewhere. Okay. It might not be you personally, but somewhere it's not working. And they want an external POV so that they can make it work. Okay. So she was saying that the way she'd been doing it, it has been working, you know, and so that's the way she wanted to continue to do it. What about those practitioners though, Webb? Like what what about those practitioners? Like how can an administrator work with that type of practitioner? I don't know if it's like you said, I don't know if we have that many veterans now. We might. Uh but what about their point of view? I want to start from the point of trying to understand. Okay.
well, I believe did think there is significantly less amount of veterans now because I think COVID definitely forced a lot of people out of the profession that were older. But I mean, some came back because honestly, that is their bread and butter, and they sucked it up and they did it. So they were forced into doing this during COVID, at the heightened points of COVID. So now it was like they were going through the motions of it because
Mhm.
they had to. And honestly, probably was the bare minimum. It was not very engaging. And I can tell you, I did some COVID observations in various schools and campuses, and I was like, oh, you could tell the difference between the veteran teachers who were complying because that was the only thing they had to do, and those who were truly engaged, some of the newer teachers who were fully engaged in it because one, that was either all they knew, or they realized the benefits of it and took it and ran with it. Now, I can understand when someone says this has always worked, but kind of, because they've had a level of success, and having a level of success does not mean that you're experiencing the best, because think about how much greater you can be if you did incorporate the technology and really engage the students in that way, and you've shown them and opened their minds up to different ways of seeing things. um I have I have a problem with an educator at whatever age not being willing to learn something new. You expect the students to be willing to learn something new, but you are not willing to learn and implement something new. as an administrator, it has to be a non-negotiable on your campus. Those are one of those things where you have to say, this is what we do here. And if you're here, this is what you do as well. And it has to be a non-negotiable. But in order for that to happen, you have to not only set those non-negotiables, and you have to inspect what you expect. So if you're never in a classroom, you wouldn't know if it's happening or not. But I mean, that's just, that's just a no. But you have to get to those classrooms. You have to train and develop, because honestly, there are people before me that did not grow up in that era of technology. But it is 2022. And as sure as they learn how to use that cell phone, they can learn how to do the different things and applications that are going to be beneficial for students. You can, Grandma. You can too learn how to do it.
You can, Grandma.
Yes, somebody's auntie.
Why
is
can't
out
it be
there.
Grandpa? Why is your bias coming out? Why? You're
Because it be
thinking
them
of-
honorary grandmothers. Let's be real. Papa
You can,
usually
Grandma.
Papa usually will just be quiet and take it. And maybe because I was a female leader, and so the papas of the campus would be like, okay, you know what? I'm not trying to upset her. But the mimas of the campus, I'm going to tell you one more time. Turn your camera on, fix your wig, and get on the camera. I mean,
What?
do it.
Oh my god. My god. Well, what about, all the rest of the teachers, whether they're new or experienced, and they're saying that, they just want to do technology. That would just be me. That would be me.
I'm
Okay.
totally for it. But I also would put behind that, and it has to be engaging. It has to be relevant. You can't just be doing stuff to be doing it. It has to truly enhance the curriculum. And I think there's a balance that needs to happen there, because I think there are some practitioners out there. They'll see the next newest thing and they just start doing it, but it's not really enhancing the learning in the classroom.
Yeah, it has to be relevant, of course. I've not seen a lot of teachers use something that wasn't relevant. Give me an example of technology that's been used that wasn't relevant
Like for instance,
to their lesson.
well, a very basic one. If I'm thinking about the beloved history teachers who say, I am using technology by showing this YouTube video.
Come on.
And I have not stopped the video and given any kind of instruction, got any kind of Q&A and engagement going on. I have simply played the video. And so now, and I've used my projector. So now I have used an integrated technology. No, ma'am.
What? A project. First of all, who's still using the projector? And I know we have some backwoods districts that are probably still using projectors.
Well, they're mounted in the ceiling, so they're still being
No.
You're talking about the one sitting on the desk.
I'm talking about the transparency.
Oh, no, the overhead projector.
I'm talking about the transparency. I went
No.
to a school, they're still using the transparency thing.
First of all, if these are
And I
projectors-
have seen the projector sitting on the thing on the cart.
first and foremost, if there are any overhead projectors on your campus or even within the confines of your district, throw the whole district away, because they should not still be in operation. If
They
your
are.
whole hand right here is colored from the overhead markers and moving on there, throw the whole teacher away.
They are.
There is a
They-
more excellent way. There is a more excellent
I'm
way.
telling you, there are districts that are still doing. I hope they're watching today, because you
hope
do
so
need
too.
an upgrade.
I really do. And if you're unsure on how to make this transition, start by throwing the equipment away, and then calling Impact so that we can help you make this transition.
Yeah, it
'Cause
really.
because this is not okay.
It's
Like
not.
there are so many benefits out there. You know, especially just kind of going back to what we were saying earlier as far as teachers worried about students cheating or not knowing how to do it. First of all, and you must get a first of all with this. If you're doing your checks for understanding, frequent checks for understanding, informative assessment throughout your lesson, who cares what they do? I mean, homework's overrated anyways. So, who cares that they're using their resources because you know what they know already. You know. And if they're leaving your classroom not knowing something to go do an assignment on something that they don't know anyways,
I stopped
malpractice.
homework a long time ago. Like I
Right.
when I was teaching, probably after like year 1 of teaching, I
That was
quit giving homework, or I gave homework only if we needed to, and I established that culture in my class. I was
right.
like, guys, I am not for homework, but there may be times when I need you to do a couple problems just so I can see if you know how to do it. And then, and I'll let you choose. I'll tell you the numbers, you can choose,
Right.
Um,
And and free advice. It doesn't take 20 problems to know if somebody does something
I
right or
had to
wrong
learn
with
that because
you.
I was that teacher.
I was too.
I was that teacher. And when I started though, but
Right. When
like
I started.
by the time I left, I understood,
Right.
oh, okay. And I would spend time picking out problems that would show me that the
Right.
student understands the standard, right?
Right.
So,
They
yeah.
don't need to practice because think about something. The phrase, and this is just free advice you're getting from us. You're getting a bunch of freebies today. Y'all
Yeah.
know it. But
They're getting like thousands of they don't
they
even know.
are
Like,
like,
you guys get
yes,
so much from us.
the phrase that people say wrong all the time, practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes
Mhm.
perfect. Because you can practice something wrong. And now if you embed 20 problems into someone and now they're doing 20 problems wrong, you have to unlearn that and reteach that. So let's not. Let me just get you a good problem or two that demonstrates the standard, and then I can see what part of the standard you are missing so I can fill in those gaps. And ain't nobody got time to be grading all that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Check for understanding, work hard during the class, build that work ethic within your class time so that students don't have to go home with a bunch of work. Now, at best, I would tell students, okay, you mess with my time and you waste my time, you will have work to do at home because this is what we're going to accomplish today.
Yeah.
Period. But I mean, once you establish the culture in the class, I didn't have that problem because then nobody want homework. Nobody wants. Nobody wants that.
If you like, I think I used as much technology as I could, right?
Right.
So you don't need to use, for example, I was just Googling formative assessment tools or digital tools and apps like for teachers, right?
Mhm.
There's this article, um, it's called 75 Digital Tools. Okay. I don't need all 75, guys. Like, you
Don't.
can choose maybe 2 or 3 things that work, because really, for the sake of yourself, your family, and the classroom, you probably need to establish some type of routine, like on this day we do this, or in order to check their understanding, I use this tool. In order for them to have practice, I'll use this tool. So that the students can become accustomed to and learn how to use that particular tool or those particular tools that you've used. If you start using all 75 tools, right, it's going to be confusing all the time in your class and too unpredictable for you to manage. Okay.
Right.
Because you're always starting over and the kids are always trying to learn something. So I would say, for every year master like 2 or 3 tools and you'll be good to go. YouTube is definitely a tool you need to master.
Yeah.
Okay. You can go live, the link can be private. There are so many things you can do. And I heard somebody today, I had to do a presentation for the North Carolina ASCD virtual conference, right? And so my partner that was on there with me was saying to use their platform, which is SIBME. I'm a SIBME partner. So yeah, and go to their website, and I think they give it to you for free. Tell them you know me, okay? So tell them Dr. Stevens sent you to the SIBME platform for administrators who are trying to build their growth in technology and being able to use your growth or your learning curve can start with the usage of SIBME for your walkthroughs and your feedback. Like that tool is absolutely amazing. The teachers can go live on there. So you can watch their classroom live from your office. Districts don't want you to do this, but honestly, man, I would schedule my walkthroughs from my office.
Can happen.
Let's go. I'd be like, just set it up at this time and I'll just tune in. You know, if I'm busy, if I
Right.
have some things going on, I sure would do it, you know. Or whatever the case might be, I would set my own up, you know,
Right.
so that I could see it, you know, set up my own equipment or whatever. So my partner that I was working with on the North Carolina ASCD virtual conference, he was saying that SIBME is FERPA approved, right? So or whatever. So, you know, and not to use YouTube because of, you know, the FERPA stuff. Definitely check out the policies and procedures for your district. But listen, YouTube is free. You can create a private channel. It does not have to be public. The link can be private. You can put it on your website for like your classroom website or put it in Google Classroom. Like if people want to see. Now, social media is king. Everybody is recording so they can have content. You can look on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok, by the way. I'm doing a series on things parents say that drive educators crazy, and you probably love it. But listen, you know, TikTok, people are recording. You go into the malls and stuff. Like as a teacher and educator, I paid attention to what was going on the outside. What were people doing? And if I were a teacher now, you know, even an administrator now, I would pay attention to every time I go to the mall or go anywhere, I see a kid recording something for TikTok. I see adults recording stuff for TikTok. Yeah, we are in this world.
Right.
That means we should be recording stuff for TikTok. TikTok is a powerful, I just used it for my PD. I just went on there and I said, this video is for my attendees who attended my coaching, equitable coaching PD. I need you to post aha moments. I need you to post or questions that you have. You know why I did that? Because TikTok allows me to respond via video to a question, and it'll have the question up here at the top. Like, come on. There's so many amazing things happening right now.
They are.
So many amazing things happening right now. TikTok of all platforms.
Right. And administrators
I saw a teacher doing a tutorial, a math tutorial on TikTok. Do you know her class was rocking it on TikTok? She had a full class plus people she didn't even know attending the tutorial. She was asking them questions. They were responding to her. There's an English teacher who I think her handle is I am that English teacher.
Yes.
And let me tell you, she has tips on there like You know how we put a period and then we space twice, right?
It's one now.
She said, honey, that's been over with.
It has. I didn't know for the longest.
Me neither. I didn't know. But you know who taught me? TikTok.
It has. There's so much, but administrators have to start modeling this for their staff.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you're not doing it, you're not creating a culture in which it is
Yes.
rich. I mean, all of the stuff that are out there. I mean, my weekly newsletters were on S'more, but my S'more was uploaded to the Google Classroom that had the whole campus on it. That's where we had announcements, so we didn't have a bunch of staff meetings.
Yes.
We had
Yes. I
we had
remember
Google
that.
Classroom. They knew every Friday it is you're responsible to see my newsletter that is uploaded on there. Don't ask me that information because I'm going to refer you back to the classroom. And if they had something needed signed or needs to be back to me, boom, it was in the classroom. I made it an assignment. I could see which teachers did it, which teachers didn't do it. Hey, you haven't signed that form. You haven't done your bloodborne pathogens because you already know all that stuff be on there. We have to do. That's how I kept them accountable, as well as it opened the door for many more to say, oh man, this is a good tool to use for my class. I mean, it was so easy. And so there are so many different platforms out there. There is no reason for you, administrator, you, veteran teacher, and you, new age teacher, or to not be using technology. Period.
Period. There are so many amazing things out here. And you have to you have to go where they are. Yeah, wherever your students are, that's where you need to go.
Yes.
You know, remember when Kick was out? I don't hear a lot about Kick anymore.
No, I think Kick got kicked out.
Let me tell you. So this is how I found out about Kick, right? I had two students that were going at each other. Okay. They were going at each other. And so security brought them to my office, right? When security brought them to my office, I said, well, I started with one. I always give the speech. Listen, I'm going to listen to everybody. But when one person is talking, I need to hear what they're saying. And then it'll be your turn. Do not interrupt. I don't know why we do that because they interrupt anyway. But in any case, so I gave him the speech. And then I let one of the girls start talking. So she started, giving me the progression of events that took place. And in the middle of her explaining to me, she said, yeah, so she just kept kicking me and kicking me. And I was just like, what are you doing? I said, she was kicking you? She said, yes. She kept kicking me and kicking me and kicking me. And she just kept talking like it was not a heinous crime, And so she saw the concern on my face and she said, man, Dr. Stevens, Kick is an app. Both girls fell out laughing. They knew I had no idea what they were talking about.
Right.
But shortly after that, I started looking into it. I'm like, okay, now what's Kick? What
Right.
is this? To see if it was something that I can use. I think that schools need to practitioners, right? I think at this point, not to use technology is malpractice. At this point, I agree with my partner, Webb. Hey, it is malpractice at this point. We are in a profession where learning is always happening. So you need to participate in the learning that's going on.
Thank you for joining us today on Educationally Rewired. Tune in next time for What the Hell is Instructional Leadership?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I guess that kind of did it, but
WTH, instructional leadership. I cannot say the words because my mom is probably watching and I still do what my mama tells me to do. So Make sure you're tuning in because we want to hear your comments. We want to hear what you have to say about it. There's so much controversy over what instructional leadership is, but I truly believe it is what is needed. Instructional leadership is needed in order for us to come out of this hole that we have found ourselves in called the post-pandemic era. Okay, so make sure you tune in. We'll see you next week. Bye.